I'm going to be right back as well.
I'm all alone again. All by myself.
I hear you singing from so far away. I don't know what you're singing, and I don't care. Hey, there's the bud.
My grandpa.
I don't know what just happened. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Leon is going crazy. This is the BREWDCAST. I am, as always, Bud Robinson. With us tonight is the incredibly loopy Leon. Say hi, Leon.
Hi, Leon.
I feel like your beard grew like 7 times faster in the last 2 weeks since we saw you last.
I've not been grooming a whole lot because I've been a little under the weather and such.
Town Drunk's with us, too. How you doing, Town?
I don't really know how to come back after that statement.
Hey, you lobbed it up in there. I was going to just, take a swing.
Hey, y'all. So WWE's on Netflix now.
I want to talk more about the Mega Powers!
Exploding!
Yeah, WWE went to Netflix. I didn't think they were gonna. Hey, I like that. I didn't think they were gonna go to TNT or TBS. I didn't think they were going to Warner. I think Warner's gonna go. I think AEW and Warner are in bed pretty well.
They seem happy with AEW's.
But Netflix though.
If they were gonna pay me $5 million to put this podcast on there, I'd do it. I wouldn't care. They're not going to do that.
No,
I'm just annoyed because they've already sent a letter to their shareholders, pretty much foreshadowing another fucking price hike.
That's a totally different thing. But as streaming gains popularity,
do you think them signing a $5 billion contract has nothing to do with that?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Come on, subscribers though. They're gonna have commercials too, but they're gonna have a commercial-free option. So, I think this is an interesting move, only because we haven't seen anything like it before from a big company. If this was like NWA or like early ROH signing with Netflix, it would be totally different. But this is like the top dog signing with Netflix. However, to that I say the NFL is on Amazon Prime, and that didn't go that bad. So I think it's a bold move. I think the money's good. I mean, they're not going to be hurting for money. The question I have is Netflix going to sign them for a second tour? Is it going to be profitable for them? And they must think so, or they wouldn't have fucking done it.
So 2 interesting points that I learned about that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, how much was their last deal for Raw worth?
I want to say 2, but I don't know where I have that money. Where I have that from.
I think it was 2. I think it was 2. I think 2 is the number.
So there's 2 interesting notes that I learned tonight about this. The first being that there's going to be a 3-month period between when USA drops them and Netflix picks them up. And Nick Khan has said that they're looking into options for that, but who knows?
I wonder if USA will just extend that.
I mean, it's possible, but why would they?
Or Peacock. I mean, Peacock would be the option.
I mean, I can't see USA doing it because that's just helping fucking Netflix when it moves over.
Yeah, but their SmackDown's already in USA.
But they don't. Same point stands. Why do they want to help Netflix in the interim?
It's true. Yeah.
Why do they want to help them? Why do they want them? Why do they want to help Raw?
Peacock probably be likely.
Hold on the viewers.
Or they may have something else wild up their sleeves. Who the fuck knows? That's one I don't know. What's the other point you have, Bud?
The other thing is they apparently have the option to get out of the contract after 5 years. Netflix does. And they also have the option to extend it another 10 years. So we're either getting it 5, 10, or 20 years of Netflix and USA. No, Netflix and WWE.
I'm curious. I mean, I don't know. It's such a new concept. Who knows how it's going to go?
I will say I'm more likely to watch if it's on USA. No, Netflix. God.
Yeah, you're doing good.
10 out of 10.
Really
Just because there's other shit on Netflix that I want to watch, right?
Yeah.
Peacock, not so much. That's just me. Like I'm one person.
Yeah. I also don't wonder if I don't wonder if it goes really well if they'll try to move their network over there, because Netflix is a bigger platform than Peacock.
Yeah. Well, Netflix has the entire rights internationally, so they have the rights to NXT, SmackDown, and Raw internationally. They're not being shown anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, stateside it's just Raw. That's right. I forgot about that part.
It's a good number.
So could that be?
I think
possible I think you're right. That could be a possible precursor to an entire move of the network to Netflix.
Yeah,
I
think it's a prime example of the way shit's changing,
mm-hmm.
And how just bulletproof WWE is, and it was. They have so much money to play with, and they have so many things at their disposal, and they should be killing everybody. They should have the top wrestlers. Like, there should be a wrestler that doesn't want to, you know what I mean? Like, it's the top company in the world. It's the biggest. It makes the most money. It should be the place to be, and it kind of feels that way right now.
I think it's
moving
getting
in that
closer.
direction.
Yeah.
But, like, how bad did just mess that up?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I see.
Well, and as I noted in the chat, at this point, many folks from the Attitude Era are the ones running WWE. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, The Rock,
wrestlers.
Yeah,
wrestlers.
But I mean, not just wrestlers who were a big part of our favorite era of professional wrestling. I think that's a big deal, and my hope is that they do something with that.
I think they are. I think there's people I'm interested in that company for the first time in a long time, and I think Leon is in the same boat. I think you are too. You even said like the company to watch this year is going to be WWE.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's going to hold true. I think for people like us, the fans that are like us, that were kind of like, we're tired of this, we're tired of what you're doing. I think a big piece of that is going to be WrestleMania, and is going to be who faces Roman Reigns, which I know is on our list, and we might as well just segue to that.
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
Like that segue, it wasn't totally on purpose. My opinion here, though, is if you go Roman Rock, why? I don't care. I do it, and
lots of people do, though.
Propagate.
They kind of care, but you're going to cannibalize everything else you do. I just read a story literally earlier tonight that they're talking about doing Rock Roman in Saudi Arabia.
That's weird.
Which,
but
it would propagate over there, and you know what kind of thing, know how important they make those shows.
Yeah,
Those are sold shows, though. They don't have to propagate over there.
Doesn't matter, Leon. That's what I read, that they want to do it over there to make good terms with the people, the Saudi kings. I don't ask me. I don't know. I just read it. And it was from old Uncle Dave.
Shows are bought and paid for.
I know.
Really?
Uncle Dave was the one that said it. That they're trying to get that to be over in Saudi Arabia.
Weird. It's very weird.
I think the story you have to tell, if you want to keep your fan base and you want to keep things moving in the direction you're going, I think Cody has to be the one and he has to win.
I think if you want to chase the casual fans,
that he's not to be involved in the fucking main event of Mania, and his story will not be finished. That's the one thing that I saw tonight.
Saw that too. But the thing about that is, then he must. If I'm him, I'm not re-signing that contract. I'm going back to AEW because they're never gonna give you it. They're never gonna give you that shot. They're never gonna do it. They're never gonna do it.
Who could have possibly called this?
It's Trips. It's not Vince. It's Trips. So like, the hope is that Trips will do the right thing for business. But I'm sitting here just kind of like,
I mean, and also The Rock. I don't know how much of a say or what kind of a say he has in the product, but
board of directors.
The Rock has some stroke here. So, like, my hope is that those two, along with everybody else who's involved, recognizes exactly what you're saying, that they need to stop chasing the casual fan, because that's what would do. Would put Rock and Roman to chase the casual fan, because the casual fan knows probably both of those guys. And that's just, you're cannibalizing the product that you've spent a year putting together. 2 years in the case of Cody Rhodes. Like,
so do you remember the feeling everyone had after WrestleMania last year? And how everyone's tired of Roman?
Yeah.
And everybody last year wanted it to end, and it didn't end. And now we're gonna come back a year later, and we're not gonna do it again. Like, when the fuck are we doing this? Are we doing this at WrestleMania 41, 42? Like, it's to the point where they're gonna make it so nobody cares about that belt. Because what's the point? Because this isn't 1962. And you can't just strap it to Bruno Sammartino and let him be the champion for 11 years. You know what I mean? And they're just not.
Bruno at least defended the goddamn thing on the regular.
Yeah, you don't like Roman. We know that. What do you have this year? Like 6 title defenses? That might be too many. He might only have like 4.
I think it was 6, actually.
But like, who cares? I don't care anymore. I don't care. I don't give 2 shits about Roman Reigns.
I cared for 3 fucking years.
Yeah, you do care though, because you're mad about it. You're passionately mad about Roman Reigns. I'm not. I don't even care. I just don't care if he's on my TV. I wouldn't give 2 shits. I'd just be like, cool, Roman Reigns, whatever. I'm not paying attention. I don't want to see him fight. Like, we start talking about WrestleMania. Like, last year, WrestleMania Night 1 was great. WrestleMania Night 2 was awful. Just awful.
Yep.
And I don't like if I'm probably gonna watch Mania. I'm probably gonna watch the Rumble this weekend. To be honest, love the Royal Rumble. It's like my favorite pay-per-view.
I hate that they've moved everything to fucking Saturday.
I don't really want to watch Phil though, so maybe I won't watch because I can't stomach Phil. But
it's fair.
I left the place that made me sick, but now I'm back and it's home. Idiot. I just
gonna talk up the place that's paying him and shit on the other places. No,
that doesn't sound like Phil at all.
That's Phil. I'm calling him Phil too because he doesn't care.
No,
if you don't, we're not gonna care. You know what I mean? We're just not gonna give a shit because it's just the same shit constantly. Go ahead, bud.
This is a partial aside, but did y'all watch the segment that CM Punk and Cody Rhodes did?
I have not.
I have many better things to do. I saw a clip of it on YouTube or no.
I saw a screenshot.
I saw a reel of it, and I just was like, "Oh, cool! Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, great! I'm gonna go do anything else in the world."
So I saw it on YouTube. I'm like, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm like, at the end of this, I'm gonna be pissed. I know I'm gonna be pissed. So I watched the whole thing. 13 minutes, by the way. They gave them 13 minutes, and I will tell you what, for a segment that got like 1 million views in the first hour or 2 that it was on YouTube, that was drizzling shits. Like, it was fucking boring. I was like, I don't care about what you... And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because of my bitterness towards CM Punk. But I was just like, I don't care.
Nothing. Okay. Nothing he's doing in WWE is just... Nothing's catching my eye.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, well, that's weird. But then I look back, I'm like, I fucking hated Collision with him. So like, why am I surprised? You know what I mean? He's the same. He's trying to do the same stuff, and he's like, he feels like the old retired guy coming back trying to act cool with the kids and be edgy. That's what he feels like.
Hello, fellow children.
Exactly. That's exactly what he feels like. I just can't.
Yeah.
I don't miss him in the AEW product. I'm so much happier that he's gone because I think the product's stronger without him.
I can think of a couple other guys who are also happy about that.
Yeah. The greatest tag team in the history of the world.
Yeah, the Brood.
No.
Oh, no, we're talking about somebody else. Sorry.
Yeah, the Young Bucks.
Nicholas and Matthew. Oh, good Lord.
I don't know. Punk's not setting the world on fire. They're gonna give him the Strap-A-Mania, and it's gonna be a nostalgic run. I don't see the gas staying in this car. Like I see him just running out of steam because there's not anything. He's done nothing good. And then the other thing that you got to remember is every fucking time this guy wrestles, he gets severely injured. Every big match he's had, he's gotten hurt for like 2 years. Foot went, this went, that went, tore my tricep. He's injury prone. So I just imagine he'll get hurt. So
perhaps
I saw a little bit of that promo. I saw Cody cutting on him. And they are trying so desperately to use what happened with the Young Bucks to build shit with Cody, and they keep wanting like Seth Rollins. They're trying to create that fake tension. Like maybe they really don't get along in the back. I don't fucking know. But they're like every time Rollins talks, he's talking about Punk and how he's a cancer and this and that. And it's like you're trying to recreate what happened in AEW. But
he's been doing that since before he was even gone, when he was still over there.
But not with WWE
like that.
Well, yeah, but what I'm trying to say is they're trying to
interviews and
I know, Leon. I've seen them. I know. I've seen them. I know what you're talking about. But what I'm saying is they're trying to harbor that into a storyline that everybody's just that whatever. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
They want to get that Punk moment where he's like, "I'm old. I'm tired. I'm hurt, and I fucking work with children." They're trying to get that, but not get that. And I don't think it felt like the one you're talking about. From what I saw, it felt really, really just emotionally fake. It just was like, I don't believe this. You're out here, you're talking, and I'm just like, I'm not suspended disbelief. If Gunther, if the one with Rhodes and Punk.
Oh, okay. That
from this past week, it sucked. Bud's right, it sucked. I mean, you were totally right. It was drizzling shits. If Gunther came out and chopped the shit out of both of them and kicked them in the throat, I'd be down.
And then chucks them both out.
Sounds entertaining.
Fucking love Gunther, but that's what I want them to do right now. I want them to take the jump on these guys. Have Gunther win the Royal Rumble and fucking maim Seth Rollins and become world champion and just fucking murder everybody. Like, do that. Do a guy that's going to work. Like, that's what I want. I want Gunther. I want some of these young guys that they're not even young, but they deserve a shot. Because this feels like WCW in '97 when it's like, Roman's Hogan, and then you have everybody else kind of playing this weird little role, and nobody gets a shot, and these top guys aren't given any space. And then we're bringing back The Rock and John Cena and this person, that person. It's like, come on, just give it to Gunther.
I would agree with that, except that then you're going to wind up with Gunther holding the title forever and Roman holding the other title forever. In which case we wind up with the Intercontinental Plus.
Hey,
see, that's why I would take Town's original statement. Only I would amend it. I would change the name in there from Seth Rollins to Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm. I think that's way more believable. Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns, okay, fine. Like, that'll be fun to watch. But seeing Gunther murder Roman Reigns...
He overcame! Seriously, that would be fucking amazing.
That sounds sexual.
17 years
Let
later.
him go out there. Just let him go out there and do what he fucking does, and just murder the fuck out of Roman.
I'm
in that ring.
not disagreeing
That
with
would
you,
be
but
glorious.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but you know that's not going to happen because they haven't built that up at all. And they're clearly doing Rock Roman. It's clear. And they're going to keep that belt on him. It doesn't even matter anymore. It's not even like a title anymore. It's just like nobody gives a shit. There's no point to fight for it because The Rock can't win. You can't put the strap on The Rock. And why would The Rock fucking beat Roman and end his reign? That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. So it's a stupid match to have. Now, if Rock lost the belt at Mania and then had that match at Saudi Blood Money 4 or whatever the hell it is, then he could fight The Rock.
I want them to call it that.
They just might as well.
I would be down for Roman loses the strap to Cody or Gunther. I don't care. One of the two.
It's got to be Cody. The story they're telling, it's got to be Cody. But
then have Rock be a big part of the bloodline just breaking apart because you have that family lineage there. I think that would be a great storyline. Will they do it? I don't know.
I think that Roman should get hit by a car and we shouldn't know who the driver is. And then we should find out it's Rikishi and he should say he did it for The Rock.
Long-term storytelling.
I did it for The Rock again. Yeah, what else? Let's move on to the next thing, bud, because we're arguing about this one. Well, not really.
We're saying many things. I'm trying to see if we had anything other than Okada, and I don't think we do.
Rumble. Who's going to win the Rumble?
Oh, I thought that's what we were saying.
That's The Rock.
No, The Rock's not going to be in the Rumble.
That
we know win the Rumble so he can challenge Roman.
There's no way he'll be in the Rumble
for the head of the table. So you come out at number 30, huge pop, lots of punches and clotheslines, and a rock bottom. And if you smell,
I think they're bringing Kane and Big Show back for that ending. They're going to be the last two in there. That works well.
I think what you do is night 1, Cody beats Roman. Night 2, The Rock beats Roman. Which is what we said they should have done last year, but whatever. They're not going to listen to us.
No, they're going to just do Rock Roman because that's what they're going to do because they got to do Punk Rollins.
Night 1, Rock beats Roman. Night 2, Gunther beats Roman.
And then they add on a third night because Paul Heyman is very upset. And so it's just one match. It's Roman versus somebody, and he still loses.
Okay.
Santino Marella. Santino Marella comes back for a 60-minute Iron Man match, and he beats the Roman Reigns.
What if they do this? What if they have Roman fight Rock at the main event of night 1, and he beats The Rock, and then night 2 he comes out and fights Cody Rhodes and beats Cody Rhodes. And then on Raw the following night, he wins a 6-on-1 handicap match with all the other main eventers.
No. Okay.
The way that
you are thinking way too small. He needs to fight in a, 6-man match. I don't know how many titles they have in WWE.
All on the line.
For all the titles. All on the line. NXT, SmackDown, Raw, all of them. Do they have do they have any rights to Evolve or whatever, that one company that they did business for a while?
They could bring
some of those in.
Bring back the WCW championship and the AWA championship.
Yeah, why not? Why the hell not? Let's do it. It'll just be a gauntlet match. He'll just beat them all. He'll just walk around with the titles like this.
Just like 7 Superman punches in a row.
Well, 12, because he's not Orange Cassidy.
All he needs is the one, though. He hits the one, and then it knocks the one guy into the next guy into the next guy. It's a domino effect, and he murders them all with the one Superman punch. Because Tom, I don't know if you've seen, but he cocks his forearm like a shotgun, and then it makes it super powerful.
Leon, don't fucking say shit that you don't want to happen, because that could happen, and I don't know what we would do with you. You would be unconsolable. absolutely
Seriously,
inconsolable.
if that happened that way, I would fucking just be catatonic laughing
He would
because
sit
it
on
would be so
on
ridiculous.
the floor in a fucking fetal position crying. That's what it would be.
Crying from laughter.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Okada.
Tears of laughter.
Okada.
Just as a brief
Okada.
brief
So what-
aside,
So
your results for this match that we just booked sounds like something Leslie Nielsen would have written. I don't think he's alive anymore, but
Oh my god, I love Leslie Nielsen. He's better than Roman Reigns. Don't put him in that sentence. Tarnish
Fair
is a
enough.
good name.
Let's carry on. Kazuchika Okada.
Okada!
He
Let's
doesn't.
talk about Okada.
He lost his. Well, he didn't lose his NJPW contract. He decided not to sign. He's still with NJPW until February. Where is he gonna go? Wild speculation. I think he's going to Evolve.
Here's my actual thought on this. Okada is a guy who loves the business and wants to have all these amazing matches. The people in AEW, he's mostly had matches with. Like, he had the Danielson match. He had the other stuff. So I think he's at a point where he's like, I can go over there and I can have these matches. Will Triple H let him do that? Triple H is more likely, but you never know.
Okada has also apparently expressed interest in being, excuse me, headlining a WrestleMania. So, like,
yeah,
they
won't let him do it. But that's a cool thought.
I mean, not in the next year.
I have no reason to believe that they're ever going to book anybody from New Japan with any credibility because they never have.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But trying to think.
Like, on the one hand,
like AJ is the best that they've done.
On the one
AJ
hand,
doesn't count. AJ doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does. On the one hand, I'm with you, and I get what you're saying. On the other hand, there's a big move happening in the WWE. A move that Vince is not a part of. A move that Kevin Dunn is not a part of.
I'm so glad.
I don't know where Bruce Pritchard is in all this, but I don't think that he's going to factor into the storyline.
No, he's still writing. He's still got his job.
Okay.
He's working for Paul. I don't have any reason to think that they're gonna not. And I'm not saying they're gonna call him, Karate Kawasaki. I don't think they're gonna do that. But holy fuck, if it was like 1990, tell me they wouldn't do that. Put him in like a ninja suit or like a karate gi, and tell him you can only do karate chops or something like that.
Yeah.
2018, they would have done that still.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, they didn't.
Yeah,
they did let Nakamura keep his names, so I don't know.
Only because of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nakamura is a prime example. That guy was hot, just hot, having these great matches, and they pulled the rug out from underneath him. I look at Okada and I think he isn't.
Mania, man.
He's not what they look at and say superstar, and that's still going to matter in that company because that fan base is still that fan base, and they've still been trained. So the fan base isn't going to respond to him like the AEW one would. If I'm Okada, though, if they're going to pay me more money, and I can go there and I can have these matches with this whole group of people that I've never had, because those WWE guys are on such an island, they don't go anywhere else. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to fight Rollins, if you want to fight Roman, if you want to fight those guys who are made, they're all great wrestlers to have good matches with, or like a Sami Zayn or like a Kevin Owens. Like, there's so many guys you look and go, yeah, that'd be great. I get it, but I just don't think. I think if he went to AEW, it would be main event, one of the top guys, shot to win the championship. I think in WWE, it's here, go fight for the U.S. belt. Put on a really good match. We'll let you do that, but we're not going to push it to the top. This is kind of how I see it.
You get 8 minutes to do it.
Well, they'll give them more than that. They care about the work, but at the same time, it's just if he looked like Braun Strowman and worked like Okada, then they'd make him the champion. But he doesn't look like Braun Strowman.
He's not a little guy.
No, but he's not. He's not.
Yeah.
They also, let's be honest about the fan base for WWE. They've been shaped by for 40 years.
40 years. Yeah.
So like,
They don't know who Okada is.
no, and they're not gonna respond to him the way, and that's just like with in AEW, like Minoru Suzuki tonight. Like everybody popped for him. Like if he went to WWE, they'd be like, "Who's this weirdo? He sucks." It's exactly what they'd say. They have no idea. You know.
Well, I think if he does go to the E, that's the prime reason why they should send him to NXT, for the same reason they sent Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and so that they can make a name for the WWE crowd. Because you're right, the WWE crowd they're in a bubble. They don't know guys from NJPW. They don't know guys from AEW unless they're busy shit talking those guys.
The only issue that I have is you're gonna take fucking Okada, who's like one of the top workers in the world, unarguably top 5, probably top 3, and you're gonna put him in a fucking developmental company.
I don't think they see it like that anymore. I don't think they see it as developmental.
I think they do. Look who's there. Look at some of the people that are there. They can't even work a match. They have to plan the match out and practice it like that. Nikita Lyons cannot call a match in the ring. They have to go through the whole match, and then they go out there and perform it. Like, it's not the same. Like Okada, you throw him in the ring with the guy, like, have a match. For all those NXT people, they don't know how to have a match.
Yeah.
We're going to put him.
Yeah, but you put him in NXT. I mean, I suppose you could do the same thing, but imagine if you had taken Shinsuke Nakamura on the hot run that he had in NXT, and when you push him, because he had this aura about him, he had the charisma, he had all of that when he came to NXT, but they had to condition the audience to say, this is what this guy has, this is how good he is. So it took, I don't know, a year. I think he was there a year and a half to like condition the crowd to realize, oh shit, Shinsuke Nakamura is great. Imagine if they had brought him to the main roster and actually fucking done something with him.
Yep.
Something meaningful.
And that might be, I don't think it's going to be him as world champion getting main events. I just don't think that's going to be it.
It's possible.
He's good enough. He's better than. He'll be the best worker in the company. I mean, I can't think of anyone better. Now that they got rid of Rick Boogs, he's got to be.
I mean, you're forgetting the obvious. Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Well, he's never going to beat Roman Reigns.
What on the topic of people's contracts and people moving?
Mm-hmm.
I read an article that there's a contract coming up right after WrestleMania that has not been renewed. And that is Finn Balor.
Intriguing.
So I wonder, him and AEW would be
fucking sick.
Oh my god! But I can't see them doing that unless they think he's past, like you know what I mean, like he's done. He's got to be 40, right?
I think he's about our age. Yeah.
Yeah, so like he's got some wear and tear. But still him going to AEW would be, I think, a huge coup for them.
I think I'd prefer him in TNA or NJPW. Here's my issue right now with AEW. AEW is floundering a little bit right now.
They're directionless.
They are directionless, and they are also at a point right now where, as you pointed out, a lot of those guys are guys who have done it on the indies. Like they've wrestled each other, and so like seeing Finn Balor coming to AEW, I kind of think, well, we've seen him fight a lot of these guys already. He's fought Kenny Omega. He's fought. I don't know if he's ever fought Swerve, but like seeing him like in TNA and bringing up TNA or sending him back to NJPW and fighting the new guys who are coming up in NJPW is more exciting to me, at the very least from a creative standpoint and from a like athletic standpoint.
I think there's shit for him to do in AEW. It would depend on how they did it.
Yeah.
Here's the problem that I see with AEW. And I can see exactly what they're going to do this year, and I can see exactly how it's going to end. What was the story of last year? MJF won the championship. Everything was about him. Heel, such a good heel, the fans made him a face. Okay? They lose MJF, they have no direction because everything they did was revolved around MJF. Do you know who's next? Swerve.
Yeah.
Swerve's going to be champion. They're going to make him face because there's no way they can't. And then they're going to run the same gauntlet. And then Max is going to come back and win the belt. It's like going to be this endless cycle. They focus so hard on making one guy that guy. And then that guy's gone, and now what do we do? And that's what it feels like because MJF was 3 steps above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And now you don't have that. And that you can tell that show just feels different. And Max can do things that Samoa Joe and Hook can't, and a lot of other people can't do. He can go out there with a microphone, and he can get an appropriate response out of that crowd. He can cut an interesting promo. Samoa Joe's promo sucked. It was just he's not a bad promo, but there was no point to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Hook part was just like, whatever. Like
it was rehashed. Whatever. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So I just think. I think if you,
it was weird for him to show him respect after what he did to him after the match, but
it was weird. It was just a weird promo. If you think back to the Attitude Era, when Steve Austin was champion, how many legitimate contenders were gunning for him at all times? Taker, Triple H,
3,
Rock,
4,
Mankind. Yeah, but you had like 4 guys behind him who legitimately could beat him any pay-per-view. And then you had like a Kane who you could pull up. You had like a Chris Benoit that you could pull up. You had those guys that were just like a step below that could come up and made sense. Who do you have in AEW?
It's true. Yeah.
You don't have anybody. And that's really the problem.
The really frustrating part about that, I think, is that like they're not hurting for talent. They're super not.
No.
Like I look back at like when Shawn Michaels, I think, was world champion. He was the guy. Like there wasn't really a lot of other guys who he was carrying the company on his back, especially after Brett left. And you don't have that issue in AEW. You have guys who can fight Swerve and Samoa Joe, and like you have these guys who you can bring up, and you're choosing not to. You're choosing to sleep on them a little bit. Not, I mean, I'm oversimplifying, I think, but
yeah.
They
put so much effort into making MJF a star at the expense of everybody else. Not like Roman. It's not that bad. But it is one of these deals where it's like you put so much into MJF and then now he's gone because he's hurt. Now you don't have anything because you weren't building anybody in the background. And I don't know, like 80s WWF, they were really good at, like Hogan was the guy. Okay. And it was always about Hogan and whatever monster heel, but they always had that guy in the background that was ready to go. It was Macho Man. It was Warrior. They always had somebody else just like they were ready. Like, we're grooming this person. We may never need him, but we're going to groom him just in case we do. And AEW doesn't do that. So there's just that huge gap. And I think it's who's the top babyface in that company right now?
Darby.
And he's nowhere near anything.
I disagree with that. I think he's close. I think he's damn close. Especially
what I'm saying right now he's not being booked.
Oh yeah.
As a contender is what I'm saying. I think he's close too.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have Darby, okay, but is Darby on MJF's level?
MJF says no.
So does Town. And he will be.
No. Again, he's close. He's close enough that it's hard for me to say for sure.
But who's the second babyface?
Hangmer man.
So you've got Darby, you've got Hanger, and Hanger is probably going to fight Joe. I think that's going to be a pay-per-view match.
That would make sense.
And
that could be fun.
But Hanger's not going to
Those two will
win.
beat the snot out of
And I think
well,
I think that's the problem. I think the problem is I can sit there and I can look at the situation and go, Hangman's not going to beat Joe and Darby's not going to beat Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of know that. And
I mean, we did that for the last year with MGF, though.
To a degree. Yeah. But
I mean, it'll be a fun match. It'll be those two beating the fuck out of each other.
That just proves my point, though, that they don't have that second person or that good. Like MJF didn't have that foil, and Samoa Joe wasn't the foil. That wasn't the story they told. There was a completely different story of this guy's beat up. He doesn't know what he's going to do.
I think the whole brawl out and everything threw a monkey wrench into that because I think they were going to have him go with Phil.
Yeah,
when he was getting up there and everything.
Man, that's so sad that Phil's not there. I don't know what we're going to do.
I'm pretty sure that. I mean, it feels like that's what they were working towards.
Oh, of course they were, but Phil goes into business for himself.
He threw a wrench.
He works with children,
and he's tired. He's old.
He does work with children, and he's a toddler.
Zing.
They just don't have that. They don't have that number two, and they also don't. They also don't have that. They don't have that heel. They do not have that heel. They don't have that guy.
Problem. Yeah,
that's universally hated. Like if you remember, like Steve Austin in '97 with Bret Hart was great, but like Hart wasn't the greatest heel. And then he went with Rock, and it was a little better. And then that shit started. The fucking heel, and when turned heel like full on. Unstoppable, completely unstoppable, and they don't have that. You need that bad guy.
I would say Swerve.
No.
Yeah.
People are so ready to fucking. People are so
they want
ready
to cheer him. Nobody wants to
though.
boo him. Nobody wants to boo him. I don't want to boo Swerve. You want to boo Swerve?
Well, no.
They're chanting his fucking song. He's not a heel. They have the same problem with him they had with MJF. They don't have a bad guy that's like a legitimate bad guy that like people fucking hate. Even Christian Cage, who's amazing. I love Christian Cage. But even him, it's like he's such a cock. He's cool.
I mean, MGF and like Swerve, it's kind of a bigger issue in wrestling these days, especially with folks like us who know so much, read all the backstage shit and everything. It's like once they're like, people get booed nowadays because they don't want to see them in the fucking ring.
That's true.
They don't want to hear them talk or whatever. But then once they're doing like effective heel work, then people start appreciating that, and then they start getting cheered.
But they don't have any of that. They don't have that. They don't have a
I
Roman.
Know. Yeah, well, I mean, they did.
If they had fucking Roman, if they had MJF was always cool. If they had a fucking Roman that people actually hated, they'd be good. Bud, what are you gonna say?
So you rattle off that in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, they have this sort of formula where there's one guy who is universally hated, and I'm not going to argue with you on that. You are absolutely right. The business has changed a lot, and we have, especially in AEW, we have guys like who Leon was just talking about, people like us who know what goes on in the back. But I would say the fact that heels don't get boos is not necessarily a bad thing. I think a heel not getting booed is just the fans who understand what's going into the match appreciating the storyline.
Okay.
The boo serves a different purpose. In sports entertainment, the boo serves the purpose of, fuck this guy, he's a heel. I think in AEW, in professional wrestling, perhaps all of professional wrestling outside of WWE, I could be wrong, when you boo somebody, it's because fuck this guy. And I guess that's probably mostly in the West, not so much in in Japan.
I don't agree with that. Because Christian can get boos. He gets pops too. But you can do enough to get a boo. I think
when you mentioned him, I mean, he's like the only one that's really doing it that way right now.
Yeah, and
like he's not. It's
interesting because
shit to me. Oh, he's fucking cool. He's doing it just to straight be an asshole.
I I think the boat was missed because I think if MJF would have feuded with CM Punk would have been that heel
Yeah.
because everybody hated him. And that's what they
Absolutely
need.
could have
That's
been,
literally
yeah.
what they need. They need somebody that people hate, and man, that could have been hot. That could have been really hot with those two. I don't care anymore, but it would have been good. They do. They just need a heel to kind of be a heel and be in that. Like Joe's not a heel as much as he's a tweener. I think that's one of the problems. Like everybody's a tweener.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like
fair.
literally
That's
everybody's
fair.
a tweener.
That's kind of along the same vein as the point I was making, Roots.
And I think you need, but I think you could still be a heel. I think it's going to take a unique setup because if MJF couldn't stay heel and he was a great heel, like he cut great promos, he pissed people off, but he was just so fucking ridiculous and so over the top it was impossible to boo the guy. And I think the same thing with Swerve. You need somebody. You almost. This is going to sound completely asinine. You almost need somebody that like legit. You need like a Roman Reigns or one of those WWE Sports Entertainment guys that like isn't an AEW guy. That's like fucking like Jericho ran a sports entertainment gimmick. Like you almost need something like that.
I
But
was just thinking of that. Yeah.
You need something where it's going to be like a guy like that, like a guy that the fans are going to look at and say, "You're not fucking AEW, you're a WWE guy." I think that would be one. Now that's going to go back to the whole
I don't want to see that.
NWO versus W. I think with the right person, it could work.
Yeah, but it's so pointed, like it's so specific. I like,
But it
like
doesn't
we see,
even-
like
it doesn't
like,
even-
like I watch Minoru Suzuki, and yes, I understand that I appreciate his shit, and I love watching him in the ring, but I can also appreciate him as a heel without feeling the need to say "fuck this guy, he sucks." That was more of the point that I was trying to make, is that like you don't have to have the booze in order for the heel to be ineffective. I think that's why Swerve is such an effective heel, is that he's fucking psychotic. And yes, the fans like him because he's been doing this for a very long time, and because the shit that he's doing right now is striking a chord with fans, especially people like us who appreciate what's going into what he's doing. But he doesn't have to get booed. I don't think that's necessarily the only thing that's going to make for a perfect heel. I think that the story is the important bit, and the match itself is important. I
just want to know how you tell a story in professional wrestling when the guy that's supposed to be the bad guy is getting cheered for everything he does.
But again, it's a different cheer. If you're getting, okay, so if you look at the match between him and Hangman, I would say, I don't know that there was cheering going on, but that was not necessarily that crowd saying, "Fuck you, Swerve, you're a piece of shit, we hate you." I think that fans who were watching that appreciated that match for what it was. But it was still a fucking amazing match.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that point. The match told a great story. But I think within the confines of that storyline, Swerve was the heel.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much gray in there at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not black or white. There's so much gray. You don't truly have the truly have the good and the evil.
I don't think that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't.
But I think
in sports entertainment that matters. I don't think it matters in AEW. I think you can still tell a good story.
It matters in professional wrestling. Like ever since it's become a work, like you got your good guys that you want to cheer, and you got the bad guy that you want to see them get their asses kicked.
One of the biggest issues with AEW is we've never had that feud where it's been like these two guys go in and they freaking hate each other, and we have the one guy we support and the one guy we hate, kind of like Austin. Now you realize not everything is going to be Austin, because that's not the way the world works. I understand that. That's 20 fucking years ago. I get that. But you always have...
People got their favorites and everything.
Yeah, but when you have the bad guy that's really actually a bad guy, instead of like shades of gray, because Swerve is just cool. Swerve's a psychopath, a sociopath, does whatever the hell he wants, doesn't care about rules, which is awesome. He's supposed to be a bad guy, but he's not at the same time, because people want to cheer him. If you could get that guy that people hated against the guy that people liked, and you had a way to make that work, that's That's how you get people in.
I disagree. I disagree because
How do you even build that kind of heel in this day and age? Though
It's a great question.
That's
Like-
kind of my point. Is that
like, how do you do
the
it?
wrestling
It's
community
if they're
has
doing it that well, we start to fucking appreciate what they're doing, and they start
I
getting those
think.
cheers.
Okay, Mick Foley.
Like Christian's
Mick Foley, ECW.
Christian is Christian. Yes,
Mick
yes.
Foley, ECW.
but you
Yes,
are
which is-
talking like 20
which
years
is
ago.
very much in the same vein of what
In-
we were just talking about with Jericho and the JAS and everything.
The-
But that
trying
was
to
so
do the
goofy.
The anti-hardcore.
That was so
and
goofy.
it's
That
still
was so
that
goofy.
that storyline is still being played. This so like I get what you're saying, but the business has changed since the Attitude Era. The 20 years, 23 years since the Attitude Era, like the Attitude Era is the thing that was the catalyst for this change. Professional wrestling does not have to be about here's the bad guy and here's the good guy, because you're always going to have people who look at the bad guy and say, I really like that guy. He's fucking awesome. And I think the professional wrestlers now understand that that's okay. And you can still tell a good story, a compelling story, and you can still have the ability to sell people on that story and have people put their butts in the seats and watch the pay-per-view, because you still want to see, you might think Swerve is a cool character, but you still want to see Swerve get his ass kicked by Hangman.
Nobody wanted to see that. Everybody wanted Swerve to win that match.
Disagree.
Don't disagree. I wanted him to win. You wanted him to win. Leon wanted him to win.
I did not want him to win.
Swerve needs this win. We all said that. I remember that. It was true.
That's different.
Um,
Saying that he needs the win is not the same as saying I want him to win.
I just think taking WWE out of the equation and looking at other sports. Okay.
Mhm.
AEW wants to be portrayed as more of a sports style wrestling, which is great, which is I think why we all like it.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go
We're
to
back
you,
to records and rankings. So,
which is finally. I'm gonna go back to Punk didn't want those because he didn't think they were cool. Thanks, Phil. UFC, okay, is a huge business. They do better pay-per-view numbers than WWE and AEW. Okay. And if I'm UFC, my highest grossing fights, what are they?
oh,
Two fucking guys who can't stand each other, and usually the fans think one's an asshole and one's not. And that can be for just a bunch of reasons. John Jones and Daniel Cormier, okay, two of the best middle 205-pound fighters ever. Daniel Cormier, super nice guy, followed the rules, did what he was supposed to do. John Jones, crazy cocaine addict, did everything wrong. These two guys went and fight. The crowd hated Daniel Cormier, even though he was the good guy. They loved Johnny Bones Jones, and John Jones beat him. That fight was huge because they hated each other. There was animosity, and the people picked a side, and that just built that up. And then I think of like every Conor McGregor fight, it's kind of the same concept. So you have that one guy that's portrayed, and it's not even a portrayal, but so what you're saying is right, because there's a lot of gray in the UFC. But those people, they pick a really hard side, and one guy's the good guy and one guy's the bad guy. That's kind of how we portray sports. In the Super Bowl, when the New England Patriots play, what do people want to happen? They want them to lose because they're the big bad evil team. Not that they are this year, but you know what I mean. So like in sports, you always have that. You have one guy who's looked at as everybody's rooting against him. That's the bad guy. So that's how we as humans kind of portray that. So what I'm trying to say is when you don't have, and you're right, it doesn't have to be so cut and dry of I'm bad, this is what I'm going to do. But when you look at a match and you don't have like who's the bad guy, that makes it really, really hard. Okay. And I don't think AEW has anybody like that. They don't have anybody that's like an evil empire guy or anything like that. All their heels don't have that same like type of build. Like part of the reason there's two reasons people don't like Roman Reigns. One is how hard he was pushed. And another one is the character he has is a heel and it works really well. And it works really well because of who he is and how he was pushed. And AEW, they just don't have a heel like that. They have a bunch of guys who can interchange, and that's cool, and I like that. But at some point, you also have to have that animosity piece, which works really good with a heel that people don't like, and they don't have it. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And that sounds really like a long, convoluted thing, but I'm just comparing it. Like I'm thinking of other things to compare it to, because you are right. The business has changed, and this sounds like a very 1980s thing for me to say, but having that heel that people don't like really, really helps. And they're not able to get that. And then they also can't book baby faces, which is a whole other problem.
But as you're giving me examples of individuals, I can't speak on football. I don't watch football. I don't give a shit about football. But as you're talking about the guys in UFC, as you're talking about the guys from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, I focus on the UFC because the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, different time period.
I think before you go, let me say one thing. What I'm trying to say is that we as fans, we want someone to hate, and AEW isn't giving us that. Continue.
The examples that you are giving read to me as this guy's a piece of shit, like in real life. And we have plenty of reasons to see how he's a piece of shit. This guy is not. So we're rooting for this guy. And I get that. I get that concept because in UFC, you can't have characters in the same way that you can have in professional wrestling. But in looking at like professional wrestlers, you can have a wrestler whose character you really hate, who I would say, I think Swerve is that guy. Is he at the level of MJF? No, maybe not. But I think he's damn close. I think he's getting there. But we can still watch Swerve and say, fuck, I wanna cheer him. Like I don't want to boo a guy. I don't want to boo anybody because they're a piece of shit in real life. I want to boo a guy because I choose to boo them because their character is a piece of shit. But at the same time, I can see that same guy the next night and he's fighting, I don't know, some other person, and I can still cheer them because I know what's going into the storyline. Honestly, I think the two of us are just looking at this from completely different standpoints.
I think what I'm trying, like the Yankees, like we hate the Yankees. Everybody hates the Yankees. I don't watch baseball, but that's the analogy I'm using. You have to have that person.
I don't think you do.
Cowboys.
I think you can create that person. And I think the problem with creating that person is that people who know what's going on in the back know that the strings are being pulled. But I don't think that's actually a problem. I think maybe that's where we're having a rift here. Because I don't think that's actually a problem. I think it's okay that we know that we're getting worked. I think that's okay. And I think it's okay for us to say, I still really like this guy in the ring. And it's fine that his character is a piece of shit. Because I like what he's doing with that character.
I just look back to every big professional wrestling match that I've ever seen. And 99.9% of the time, if there's personal animosity, and there's a clear cut, this guy did something wrong, and this guy's the one we want to cheer for, and we pick one we hate, and we get behind the good guy. And I get it, it's 2024, but when AEW does these matches, and maybe that's the beauty of AEW, maybe that's why I don't hate it, is I don't ever feel like with the Swerve Hangman thing that we talked about, I didn't give a fuck about the storyline. I cared about the in-ring work. Like the storyline to me was just whatever. I didn't hate Swerve. I didn't think Swerve was anything. Nothing about that storyline made me go, oh my god, I want to see him get his ass kicked. It was just, this is going to be a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for and maybe this is the point for AEW to kind of jump to that next level. Maybe that's what the focus needs to be, is making some of those personal animosity fights work, because they don't.
Yeah,
they're not good at that. and that's fine. You can call that sports entertainment, but it's really
Just
not.
death.
Because again, I'm gonna go back to UFC. What's the biggest UFC fight ever? Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. They fucking hated each other. Those two guys wanted to literally, like, Khabib wanted to fucking kill Conor McGregor. When the fight was
I
over, he
don't
went
think
in the
Conor
crowd.
had any animosity to him. He was just fucking running his mouth like he always does.
Yeah, but Khabib
But Khabib, on the other hand, yes.
fucking hated him, and he's just going out there to kill him. And that fight was so easy to buy into, and it was so easy to see. And just you don't have that. AEW kind of lacks that. And I'm not saying that WWE has it, because WWE storylines are goofy as fuck. I think that storylines don't always suck you in, and it's just kind of like we're so accepting of that because it's like this is going to be a cool match, this is going to be a good match, even though the storylines suck. And I can't even believe how many times we've actually said the storyline sucks.
Mm-hmm.
They're not good at storylines, and they're not sucking us in with those storylines either. That's what they need to do. I think that should be my argument.
I think
Not that we need a bad guy that's going to do this or that or this or that. But when you don't have that storyline piece, it's really hard for some people to get in. Us as wrestling fans, give me it because I want to see the match because I know it's going to be amazing.
I think I agree with you 100% on that. And I think my main point is that I want them to do it in a way that hasn't been done before. Because we've seen the WWE way. We've seen how UFC does it. We've seen I want to see how AEW is going to do it.
Sometimes doing it the way that's easy and basic is the best way to do it because it's easy and it's easy to understand. You can't get too complicated. You can't overthink the system. And sometimes I think Tony tries to do that.
Well, Tony does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's getting late. We should stop this argument. We can pick it up.
I love this argument. It's the greatest argument I've ever had.
It's a good argument. I want to continue it, but I need to go to bed soon.
Yeah. I just think the storylines are the problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's you and I think have the same feeling, and we're expressing it two completely different ways.
I just think that they need to find a new way. It doesn't even have to be a new way. It just has to be a different way from how WWE does it.
They have to find a way. They have to find a way. They have to find a way to get people interested,
engaged
in the storyline, and not just holy shit. You know, this person's fighting this person. It's going to be crazy, and it will, and it'll be great. Give us a storyline that we actually want to, that kind of sucks us in. And they've not managed to do that because the biggest storyline they had this year was what? Who is the devil? How'd that one turn out, bud?
It was a
more compelling storylines.
Corn part.
Yeah.
All right, bud, get us out of here.
This has been a lot of arguing with the Brood. I have been Bud Robinson. This has been Leon, and this has been Town. Say goodbye, Leon.
Was it Leon?
It was a lot of arguing about the same opinion.